Nothing sexier than a pan of fucking mac and cheese.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quest for the Best, a podcast where we seek out the best of the best foods. From snack cakes to candies to sauces, drinks, and sandwiches, no food is off limits. My name is Amy, and with me today, as always, is my husband, Matt.
Yo.
And our guests today are a couple really good friends of ours, Hannah and Chris with a K.
Reed.
So today, you could probably guess what we are questing for by the obscene stirring sounds coming from the kitchen. Mac and cheese. So I am not a huge fan of mac and cheese. How about you guys? Do you like mac and cheese?
I like my grandma's mac and cheese, and that's pretty much about it. So this is going to be kind of like a fear factor trial of wits for me. So
I'll pretty much eat any mac and cheese.
I'm
not going to say that.
The bar is set low.
I might not like it, but I'll still eat it.
How did you get on this panel?
I swept some stuff off the floor and called it mac and cheese. You in?
I like cheese. I like pasta. There's still ways that it can go wrong.
So first of all, to understand macaroni and cheese, you got to understand cheese. Cheese making was originally about survival for a farm family or community. They would take a very perishable protein and transform it into something less perishable. The first cheese factory in the U.S. was built in 1851. Before that, cheese was made on farms, and if the farm was prosperous, they usually had a cheese maid.
Fill out a resume for that.
My new dream job.
Cheese maid.
I wish we had it on sound. Like, what is she wearing for that?
My name's Matt, and I'll be your cheese maid for this evening.
Is that like a position at Olive Garden? Like the person who comes to shred the cheese onto your salad or soup?
Tell me
Tell me
when.
Tell me when.
Now.
So processed cheese, which was invented 107 years ago in Switzerland, is cheese that is emulsified and cooked. This process will no longer alter with age. Think Velveeta, canned cheese, or the powders that are in a lot of boxes.
So are you telling me that America is taking the fall for this product
Oh,
and we didn't even create it?
Sounds like it.
That's bogus.
What did I miss?
Yeah.
The processed cheese was invented in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, I think the quintessential processed cheese to most people would be like American cheese slices.
Yeah. I would
And
agree.
I think most of the world, when they think of processed cheese, they think of America.
I think of the stuff that can just sit on the shelf without being refrigerated, and that's okay.
Like a cube of Velveeta.
That and yeah,
A cube of
it's
cheese
not
block, yeah.
cheese.
I think of processed cheese as a slice of plastic.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. It's disgusting.
Well, fun fact, Velveeta was invented in 1918, and now this 22-ingredient food is no longer regulated as cheese.
As it should be.
I mean, yeah, that makes
It didn't
sense.
say.
Health product.
It's a processed cheese product. It is no longer cheese.
So where did macaroni and cheese get its beginnings? The exact origin of it is unknown, though the earliest known recorded recipe was from 1769. Mac and cheese made its way to the United States courtesy of Thomas Jefferson. As president, he served macaroni and cheese at an 1802 state dinner.
That's some old cheese.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson does everything. That guy. I just learned about wine with him.
So Kraft Foods introduced its box mac and cheese in 1937 during the Great Depression. It could serve 4 people for 19 cents, and Kraft sold 8 million boxes in a year. So do you guys want to guess which country consumes the most boxed mac and cheese?
Don't say South Africa. Because that's not right.
South Dakota?
Ooh.
That's not a country. She said country, didn't she?
You trapped me, sir.
I apologize.
And like, unless they seceded and I'm not aware of it, they are not their own
They've
country.
succeeded, but not seceded.
Yeah.
Okay.
They succeeded.
Japan.
I was gonna say Russia.
Do you have a guess, Hannah?
Hmm. I mean, like, I want to say America. Like, I
Then
feel
go
like it
ahead.
needs to be America, but it also seems like too obvious, so it's probably not going to be right.
Well, according to a global news report, Canadians eat 55% more Kraft mac and cheese than Americans do, making them the highest.
The cheesiest.
Wow.
The average yearly consumption is 3.2 boxes a year for Canadians, for every Canadian.
I eat way more than that.
I was just gonna
You're
say
more Canadian than most of Canadian.
Canadian, yeah.
Worldwide, mac and cheese consumption is 7 million boxes a week. Mac and cheese is the most popular Thanksgiving side dish in Delaware, Georgia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia.
I do have to say, mac and cheese has never been a Thanksgiving food, at
No.
least. Like,
It
Yeah.
never has for our family
No.
either.
It has for mine.
I always
Well-
thought that was weird when I joined your family to always see mac and cheese as a side. Well, I would never. I think I tried it once, but I would never eat it.
Yeah, it's made with real cheese. That's why
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
don't need it.
So now, if you are making yourself some boxed mac and cheese, there is a process to make sure it turns out creamy and not lumpy and gross. And it comes down to not dumping all the ingredients together all at once. So first, you cook and drain the noodles, adding them back into the pot. Then you add the butter, stir it completely until it's melted. Sprinkle the cheese over the top of the buttered noodles. Pour in the milk and then stir the noodles using a folding motion from the edge of the pot inwards.
I would say this is definitely not how I make mac and cheese.
I was gonna say otherwise.
I
you can
also
just
don't
burn it.
Follow instructions, so I mean, that's probably the...
I don't know if that's what it says on the back of the box, but when I was doing my
depends.
research.
on the box and the brand.
Yeah.
There are some brands that say you want to put it into the noodles, and there's some that say you want to mix like the cheese sauce and the butter and milk and then add the noodles into it. So
How much research went into this?
I always research all of it.
I'll never eat mac and cheese again.
also the worst
It's ruined.
suggestion I've ever
Ruined.
seen on a box was like, for a more tangy mac and cheese, make it with yogurt instead of milk.
If you have to start off with tangy,
If you have to, if you have to start by cooking yogurt, maybe just don't.
You know, like right before you puke, how your mouth gets all watery? That just made my mouth do that.
I'm sorry. I'd say usually the way I kind of spruce up my box mac and cheese whenever I make it is by adding heavy cream, and that always makes it way better.
sprucing it up.
Yep.
So today we are trying 5 different types of mac and cheese. We have Kraft mac and cheese, Annie's mac and cheese, a little bit of a cheater here. We have Velveeta shells and cheese, Amy's frozen mac and cheese, and Stouffer's frozen mac and cheese.
Is it your mac and cheese?
It is not mine. It is the
Just the
brand,
brand
Amy's. So the first mac and cheese we are trying is Kraft macaroni and cheese. I cooked it exactly as the special instructions were, but I followed all the amount of ingredients that were recommended on the box. So everybody, dig on in.
Man,
These are slippery little devils. I can't get one unless I stab it.
yeah. Spoons.
I think I undercooked the noodles a bit. Sorry, guys.
Mine are fine.
Yeah, mine are fine.
Okay.
It's just really chewy.
Al dente.
This is the reason why I don't like mac and cheese right here, is because this is like growing up my definition of mac and cheese, and never been a fan.
Yeah.
My sister used to love this stuff.
This definitely reminds me of childhood. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the best mac and cheese. It's definitely not my favorite mac and cheese. I will still eat a whole bowl of it.
Okay, so to tell you the truth, this is like the only mac and cheese I think I've ever had other than trying what is at your family's Thanksgiving. And then there was this one time when I was a kid that my mom tried to make macaroni and cheese, and it had like 5 cheeses in it. And she made it in the crock pot, and it was all day long. It was in the crock pot. And she was late getting home from work that day, so my dad fed all of us. And so we all had our bowl of mac and cheese, and it was disgusting. It was so terrible. And all 4 of us kids thought it was just the worst thing ever. And my dad was eating it, and he's like, "Shut up and eat your mac and cheese. It's good. Just eat it. Just eat it."
What was wrong with it?
It just tasted terrible. And
Okay, but like in what way?
I don't
Was
remember.
the texture bad? Were the noodles not
Everything.
good? Was it like not fully
It
cooked?
was just bad.
It
It was in
tasted
a
like
crock pot. It
feet.
was fully cooked. So Alan and Michael are younger than me, and they are sitting at the table bawling their eyes out.
Those are her brothers.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yes,
my sister and I are old enough to know just choke down this mac and cheese and you can get up out of the room, right? So
down that mac and cheese.
my
and
mom
get up
walks
off
in-
your feet.
my mom walks in the door and Alan and Michael are sobbing at the table. Janet and I are trying to do dishes, my sister and I. And my mom's like, "What is going on here?" And it's just she tries the mac and cheese and she spits it out. And she's like, "You don't have to eat this." And Alan and Michael were so relieved. Found out later that my dad hated it too, but he was just so excited that my mom cooked something that he just ate it and pretended it was good. So that's my only other mac and cheese story. Does anybody want to give these ratings?
Not yet. I gotta establish kind of a baseline. But
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't
Right
had
now,
Kraft
this
mac
is
and cheese in a
probably
while.
below a 5.
Yeah, I would give it below a 5. Absolutely.
By the way, I'm getting fresh bowls for everybody. Keep your forks.
Forks.
Keep your forks handy.
But you don't feel like you have to eat all of it if you don't like it.
Okay.
I will still eat.
Notice
all
how I
of it.
left but 1 or 2 noodle.
Yeah, Matt, you did a good job.
I'm a growing boy.
Yeah. Oh, disclaimer to that story: Amy doesn't like cheese. Just remember
Yes,
that. About the
that's
mac and
like
cheese.
what we need to clarify this episode with. Amy doesn't like cheese unless it's on pizza,
I like pizza cheese.
Or
I like
yeah.
nacho cheese.
so not cheese.
And I like
pizza cheese.
I like cheese like crackers like Cheez-Its or I like Cheetos.
Oh, flavored.
Yes.
Okay.
So the next one we are trying is the Velveeta shells and cheese. And I cooked this exactly how it was supposed to be cooked. And it's really just a pouch of like Velveeta cheese that you put in there. There's no milk or butter added. So enjoy.
So it's just a pouch of room temperature, non-refrigerated, whatever.
Powdered cheese.
Yeah. No powder. It's not powdered.
Oh.
It's the glob.
Oh.
It's plastic.
Well,
You
it's like
don't know
what?
that.
Two chemical compounds away from it.
Robot cows made this stuff.
All right. I will say this though. Upon first look, it looks a lot better than the Kraft. Just saying.
Oh yeah. I
Just-
agree.
It looks better, but I also know what it is.
Yeah, your Kraft macaroni and cheese looks so rough right now. Oh man.
I want to see if it had a smell.
Oh, it's something.
They smell pretty similar. They smell pretty
They
similar.
taste very similar to me.
Do you think it's visually appealing because of the shells?
I prefer shells
Yeah.
personally. It seems more like real real pasta and not like as overly processed as the
Yeah.
elbows, but
I see
it's
what
still just as bad.
The cheese flavoring is not as good.
Mm-mm.
But this was, so this was Velveeta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This was Velveeta. It tastes very similar.
Well, the texture is like
No.
of the cheese sauce is definitely a lot more plasticky.
I feel like the Velveeta is saltier.
Yeah. I didn't even put salt in it, and I was like, maybe I messed up here. Put pepper in it for anybody who was wondering.
I think I slightly preferred the shells and cheese, and that actually scares me.
I agree with you. I think I might have preferred the shells and cheese, and I didn't like
prefer
it.
whatever it is that sits on a shelf, not refrigerated. Whatever's in that concoction.
It
She-
has a chemically aftertaste.
She's
I would
tasting
agree with
the
that.
No.
old mac and
I think I
cheese.
like that Kraft better.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right
Yeah.
now. is-
I'm
Would
just
you- it's
curious.
cold,
what
but you
is
wanna try
the
it?
what is the price point difference? Is the Velveeta a higher tier?
I can't remember actually.
Well,
Well, Kraft is like what, $1.29 a box.
Yeah, if I had to
cheap.
guess, I would say Velveeta would be more expensive.
Yeah.
It sounds fancier.
I was going to say you're paying for the name, I feel
Is
like.
that velvet? No, it's Velveeta.
It's Velveeta.
Well, yeah, is this supposed to be velvety smooth? Is that the thing?
probably that. It's probably made with like
So-
70% velvet.
From Walmart. From Walmart, the Velveeta shells and cheese is $2.98.
Whoa, highway robbery.
And the Kraft mac and cheese is 98 cents.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay.
Save your money.
Yeah, for real. Unless you're a real big fan of shells.
Well, I think I can start putting
They
some
make
numbers.
shells craft. You don't have to. You don't have
No, you have to throw your money away, Hannah. You have to. It's for the shells.
I agree with
would say
Hannah's
yes.
assessment. This shells and cheese is definitely more chemically tasting.
There's definitely
Plasticky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has a different texture to it that's yeah, it's just odd.
But I finished it.
Oh, me too. I ate it all.
I did not.
Shamelessly.
All right.
So our next macaroni and cheese that we are trying is the Annie's boxed macaroni and cheese. I made this just like I did the Kraft one.
And looks very similar.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say though, it seemed like there was a lot more powder that went into this one.
I was going to say, it looks like there's more cheese
Sauce, yeah.
It smells better than the other two.
Yeah.
Amy's face when she ate that first bite. She's
I thought you were like looking
Horrified.
and laughing at a random noodle in your bowl for a second.
No chemical aftertaste. I'm happy with that,
yeah, definitely.
I will say.
This one has the best aftertaste, but it has
Yes.
the most shocking like initial taste.
I think what this had is a slight texture advantage, and the flavor was like a nice distribution of flavor level. Like the other ones, like the Kraft one, kind of hits hard. So did the other one, like at a certain point in eating it. But I think this one had like a nice smoother flavor rather than like getting hit with like a salt slam. I think is what it was like. Or that synthetic taste kind of compounded on
Yeah.
top of that.
I like that assessment.
Yeah.
I would say that this has more of a mild flavor versus the others too. I'm not a big fan of the flavor.
Well, you're not a fan of mac and cheese, so
Or
Yeah.
sometimes cheese.
Since you all cannot see what is happening here, everybody has pretty much finished every bowl and mine are all full still.
Oh, yeah.
I eat about half of my portions, actually.
Yes.
The only reason I didn't have anything but 2 noodles left in my first bowl is because Bree, which is the podcast ghost, ate the rest of. Yeah, getting a message from the other side, and the Bree ghost is saying it is the cheesiest.
Does anybody want to start putting numbers to this?
I'll go. I will go rapid fire.
Not very rapid.
I've started. Am I going too fast?
he's
I will back
beaming
up.
it directly
So,
into your mind.
Kraft 3, Velveeta 4, and I will put Annie's at what I consider to be okay 5. I think that hits those scales fairly well for me.
I'd say my ratings are pretty similar, but I'm going to go with a 4 for Kraft and a 3 for Velveeta, and then a 6 for Annie's.
I prefer synthetic fuel, apparently.
As we all should. Yeah, I got Kraft at 3. Velveeta shells and cheese at 2. That was terrible. And then Annie's actually got a 7.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
I didn't think it tasted that different. Like to have that much of a spread in the scale, you know?
Well, I think the Velveeta shells and cheese was just terrible.
Oh, yeah,
I'll say it again.
absolutely.
But yeah, the Kraft was similar, but like what Matt's assessment was, it was more of a gradual cheese flavor as opposed to salt.
As sodium uppercut
Yeah.
to your nose
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
So I would never eat that Velveeta again.
Yeah, I would be okay with never touching it again.
I'm going to go ahead and give that a 2. I feel like there's worse mac and cheese out there, but
Right. I know.
Great
there is.
value.
Yeah.
Where it tastes like cardboard.
Now with less than 10% cockroach parts. Not a
And
true
I-
statement. Not an ad.
I feel like the Annie's and the Kraft are pretty even for me. So I'm going to give them both a 4.
There you go.
Now, let's all, if I was a bowl of mac and cheese, Chris, what would you rate me?
Matt, you'd be a hard 8.
Ooh. For creaminess?
Mostly cheese.
Or cheese. Yeah.
Or are you rating his noodle?
No. I think that's only in the best interest of Amy.
Why did you do that?
Because it was funny.
I wish I had my mouth harp down here. When you said noodle, I'd go boing.
Boing. Well, get me some more sound props and I'll be all over the place.
Not gonna lie to you. Did you just say mouth harp?
Yes. With that, I will go start the next round. We're on to the microwaved ones.
Ooh.
They start out frozen, but then we hit them with radiation and they become warm.
So the next mac and cheese we will be trying is the Amy's frozen mac and cheese. And Hannah is digging right in.
This is not to bias anyone. This one is way better.
It is Amy's.
It does smell a little popcorny, like buttery. Mm-hmm.
Glad I left room at the top of my scale.
This is the best so far.
I'm going to humbly say this is not my cup of tea. After the popcorn comment, all I can taste is butter.
And right now, all Hannah can taste is bowl paint because she done.
I think that's kind of why I like this one better, because you really don't taste like heavy cheese.
Yeah, I mean, I could, if that's your thing.
I think I'm going to give this one an 8. I reserve the right to change it later, but for now I'm giving this one an 8.
I will say I enjoyed the noodles. Those are big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The noodles were a good texture. They're actually elbow shaped instead of like just
Yes.
straight lines.
Yeah, that was the best. I'm going to wait to give it a number, though, because I'm
Me
going to
too.
need to figure out the high end of my scale here. We only have one left, right?
Yes, we have one left. But I will say, I didn't have nearly as much in my bowl as everybody else, but I did finish it this time.
We're very proud of you.
It's not too salty, not too cheesy.
No, it was like ready to be seasoned. Like
Yeah, like
it
put
was
some
a
pepper
good
on there.
base, and I would have been fine eating it without
yeah.
anything.
Mhm.
I'd say the sauce texture and everything tasted a lot more like a homemade cheese sauce.
Mhm.
Like a roux.
Yes.
We bought the just the individual serving of this one, which is like $4.99. And I feel like I could eat the whole thing. If I bought that for myself, I could eat it all.
Whoa. You don't even eat all of the craft.
I know.
But this is organic, so that makes it good, right?
This was organic?
Yes, it was. Okay, so our last mac and cheese that we are trying is Stouffer's mac and cheese. Dig on in.
Visually looks the same as Amy's.
The noodles are bigger.
The cheese is darker.
I feel like the cheese is a little sharper. Is that right for cheese? Is that a right word?
Nah, I don't think so. I think that's a salt punch that you're getting.
Mm.
Yeah, like what you said, sharp.
Mhm.
It's either salt or it's sharp. But yeah, I would agree with that.
Kinda.
It is very similar to the Amy's.
Mhm.
There seems to be a theme from Frozen. It seems to be a better quality than from box.
Yeah, for sure. So the Stouffer's macaroni and cheese is $2.28 for like your own meal. Serves one. So this is definitely like $2 cheaper than
Than
the
Amy's.
Amy's.
And they're of at least almost equal.
Yeah, and I actually think it felt like there was more in this one than the Amy's.
I'm going to give this one a 7.
I'm going to recant my Annie's. I'm going to drop that down.
Okay,
So,
Annie's or Amy's?
so Annie's, I'm going to drop down.
Okay.
And that's going to go to a 5. Dun, dun,
You
dun.
needed room to grow, didn't you?
Yeah.
Box yourself in. That's a
I see what you did there,
judging
too.
strategy.
Because that was the best out of the 3 boxed mac and cheeses for me.
Yeah, Annie's. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And then I have Amy's as a 6. And then Stouffer's takes the top throne for me at a 7.
And Matt, what did you say for Amy's and Stouffer's?
Okay. Amy's I gave a 7. Stouffer's I gave a 5.
Okay.
Even though it was frozen, I still it wasn't like enough better. It was slightly better than the Annie's, but not enough for a point.
Yeah.
And
And
that
I
was
th-
mostly like texture and
Yeah.
what have you.
And I think I would also give Amy's a 7. And probably Stouffer's a 5 as well. I agree with you on that.
It's like you're married.
And I don't even I don't believe that any mac and cheese that I will ever eat could be a 10. And that would be, I guess, an open-ended challenge to anybody.
Except
I
your
think-
grandma's.
Well, I don't even know if I'd give that a 10. I'm just not a fan of mac and cheese itself as a
What-
thing. So
What do you think? Like a sentimental 9 for your grandma's?
And
And maybe if my grandma were to come back from the grave and make some mac and cheese, I'd have to give that a 10 just on like my understanding of the world and everything kind of tied
I'm
into
uncomfortable now.
you've
thanks.
never had. I never ended up making you mac and cheese ever, did I? So I know I made crock pot mac and cheese at one point, and
Right,
I wanted
and
you
just
to
really
try
like
it, but I
flaunting,
don't think.
dumping a bunch of ketchup into it in front of
Okay.
me.
Oh my goodness.
And then like stirring it vigorously while making eye
No,
contact
I
and
would
going,
not stir it. That's disgusting.
So do you put ketchup in your mac and cheese?
When it's homemade.
Oh, okay.
I would never put it in a box mac and
There's a
cheese. But when
rule
it's like
set you
crock
must
pot mac
follow.
and cheese, it's something that it has a different texture. It has a different flavor profile.
Okay. I know-
My grandma raised me to put ketchup on my mac and
Yeah.
cheese. She turned me against my own mother. So
Oh, jeez.
She was raised ruined.
yeah.
I've heard a lot of people actually put ketchup in their mac and cheese.
Yeah. I mean, tomatoes and cheese are a very classic combination.
Break
All right, guys.
Breakdown
You ready for
analysis.
this? So our totals are in. And in 5th place with 11 points
Sounds terrible.
is Velveeta. Shells and cheese.
Oh.
That was
To get 11 points and there's 5 kinds and there's 4 people voting. is
yeah,
not
out of
good.
40. 11 out of
That's-
40.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, 40 I guess would be a perfect score, but they can't
Yeah.
all be winners either,
Mm.
Ugh,
Right.
Sure.
especially in mac and cheese week.
But also Velveeta got 2 2s. Chris and I each gave it a 2.
Yeah,
So
I didn't want to do a 1. There's
Yeah.
worse.
So in 4th place with a score of 14 out of 40 was Kraft macaroni and cheese.
That's so sad, but like also very understandable.
Mm-hmm.
That's our childhood. 14.
That's
out of
really
40.
the only reason you eat it is for nostalgia purposes. Like,
Not me.
And it's 98
I just don't eat it.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's
you.
it's
Unless
a cheap
Amy
food.
made it and I'm lazy and I'll finish the rest.
Throw
of
some
It.
MSG in there and you'll like it.
Yes.
Oh, hot dog.
All right.
In 3rd place with a score of 20, 50% of the vote is Annie's. So all of the boxed mac and cheeses came in in the
Yeah.
last 3. So in 2nd place with a score of 24 is Stouffer's.
Ooh. All right.
Shut up and stove it.
And in 1st place with a score of 28 was Amy's.
Wow, we didn't even break 30 on any of them. That's kind of really sad.
Yeah.
Well, approaching 30 seems to be the threshold for mac and cheese scores,
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least out of this group.
Yeah, yeah.
Hannah gave one of them an 8.
Yeah.
Amy's an 8. So
She's clearly
I've never
out of her
actually
gourd.
had. I eat a lot of the Amy's meals, and I've never had the mac and cheese. So that was actually like interesting.
Well, kinda. I mean, you do eat the cheddar mac and cheese bake, which
Yes, that's completely
or
different
broccoli.
though.
It's broccoli.
yeah, broccoli
cheese.
cheddar bake because
And
I
it-
like that.
yeah.
That's good with that little
It's
crunchy
different
stuff.
though. It was
Mhm.
totally different noodle. And
Yeah, I
everything.
wouldn't call that or compare that to mac and cheese at all.
Mm-mm. So
So yeah, now that we've eaten several different kinds of mac and cheese, how does everybody feel?
I feel like I could run a marathon, to be honest.
Wait till the cheese catches up with you. You're on the carb high right now,
Oh, I know. It's a mixture
which
of
is
that
not true because that won't be for like 24 hours. But
and ice cold black coffee.
any of these that you guys would buy from now on, like I would eat this on a regular basis or semi-regular.
I would eat the Amy's one on an irregular basis, and that's about as good as it gets for me.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to spend the money. And that's why I haven't tried the Amy's one thus far, because if I'm going to spend $5 on a frozen meal, I'm going to have it be something that's not just mac and cheese.
Yeah, and I'm poor, so I think I have 2 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese in the cabinet as we speak. So I'm not gonna eat it though.
You know, I did purchase.
Rainy day.
Right, and I have a lot of stuff just to have in my cupboard just in case
The
you
food
need a meal
apocalypse.
someday.
I did purchase the Cheetos mac and cheese, the Kraft Cheetos one, and there was a
Ooh.
couple other flavors in there, but I decided not to make them today.
That's
It just
okay.
didn't sound like my stomach would
That's
handle that. We have chosen our best mac and cheese, and that is Amy's. And we give it the Quest of the Best seal of approval. For more episodes and content, please check out our website at questforthebestpodcast.substack.com. And if you were entertained today, if you found value in our content, or if you have a bunch of money you would just love to give us, we will accept it. Please subscribe to our podcast. Paid subscribers will have access to bonus episodes every month, and we really just appreciate the support. So thanks for joining us today. It has been great. And until next week, stay safe out there.
Stay safe.
Woo.
Stay safe.